Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, the show that offers you tips and strategies to help speakers build the business of their dreams. Now here's your host, 30-year industry veteran and business coach, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Show. Today is a great day. We are going to dive right in to talk about how to grow your speaking business. Our special guest today, David Atkins. Welcome to the show, David.
Hello, everybody. So excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. Every time I write your last name, of course, I want to put an O-N on the end, like it just rolls right off my fingertips. David Atkins, no O-N.
Yeah.
David, tell everybody about your current business model in speaking.
So right now I'm actively speaking, something I'm pretty much trying to do full time. It took a lot of work. I'm still in the active growing mode every single day, planting seeds, trying to reap a harvest, but it's something every day, 7 days a week. I think about it. I'm passionate about it. I just came off a busy season of about 9 keynotes in 7 weeks, but I'm already really excited to kind of get 2024 started and to speak, even more in the upcoming year.
So you, I think, doubled your business from year 1 into year 2, and you're hoping to do the same in year 3. Is that right?
Right. I mean, my income tripled this past year to the year before, and I'm looking to at least double again in 2024.
Okay. Well, we're going to break that down and show
Yes.
everybody kind of all the things that you did. But first, you didn't start out as a speaker.
No.
Everybody what your background was, your day job, also your passion project. Tell everybody where you came from before you got into speaking.
No, it's a great question. All the time people are like, how did you get started in speaking? And it's something I never saw coming. So my background is I was a New York State trooper. I was with the state police for 22 years. I retired as a state police captain where I ran all state police operations for an entire county where I lived. And to give an idea with people, I said I handled about 400,000 to 500,000 911 calls a year. So it was a busy place in the state police. Parallel to that, the last 10 years of my career, I built a large scale direct sales business with a fitness company called Beachbody, which so many people I've heard of them, P90X, a 21-day fix. And I built it to $1 million business, working it over, now 13 years. But what started happening is through my success in business and building a team to 1,400 people internationally that I led, Beachbody started asking me to speak. And it started at a small library. We have these quarterly events called Super Saturdays. And every quarter we'd have it. And in a small library, I would share my story about how I built the business and having 2 kids going on 3 and just all of the things. And it became more of a motivational message to help other people grow and face adversity. And that grew from a library to, David, can you speak to 300 to 1,000 to, we want you to speak to 20,000 in the NFL Superdome. And then it's just executives started getting in my ear and they were like, David, you have a powerful message. You have a gift to speak, something that I just walked through a door that opened. And they said, I think you should look into keynote speaking. So the issue was I could not run a county with the state police and have my Beachbody business and now be a speaker. So I retired 3 years ago, September 2020, still have my Beachbody business now called Body, but my passion now is growing my keynote speaking. And I kind of say it's like after you finish a good workout and that feeling you get when the endorphins are pounding, after I spoke on stage, through the years, I'm like, I get the same feeling. I love this. So that's when I knew, as much as people, and Jane, a big thing is I would say the majority of people thought I was crazy. You have a great job. You have a great career. You're going to get promoted to major, but I had to follow my heart. And I'm so glad that I did that. And I retired at a young age at 43, but I wouldn't be where I am now if I wasn't to kind of have faith over fear, right? And have the faith to grow. And now it's something I love, and it takes a lot of hard work. I'm still in it every single day. But I love the ability to empower and inspire people when I speak on stage.
I love that. And I love that you have persevered, because I don't think it's always been like, hey, I'm going to be a speaker, and then you just go and do it. So,
Right.
how long did I tell you it was going to take for you to
two,
build a speaker
2 to 4
business?
years to be a build. I remember you said 2 to 4.
And you're like, nope, I cannot wait that long.
Yeah.
But here we are. And I think we're in year 3 coming up, right?
Right. Year 3. I mean, the first year was COVID. So there really were no events, but I did
Perfect
all of
timing to start.
perfect timing to start. There's no events, but I did so much of the behind the scenes work, whether it was the website stuff and the videos and getting my, things together. But I would say really strong the last year and a half, 2 years of really working the business every single day and realizing the time you have to put in. Because I think the big thing somebody said to me is that I've been speaking for 10 years, and in the Beachbody world, everybody knows me, but nobody knew me outside the fitness industry. So it was like I had the ability to speak, but now it's, David, you got to pay the token, pay the toll to build, to get your name out there. And that's even what I'm still in right now as I'm working every day.
Yeah. Always think of it like a blank farmer's field. You actually have 2 fields, and one of your fields has a ton of harvest happening in the
Right.
Beachbody side of the business. Um, you have grown that along. Talk a little bit about your wife and you being partners in that business.
That's great. So my wife, Kristen, we have 3 daughters. She was a school teacher, worked with her master's plus 60 credits. And then it was 7 years ago, we retired her when our Beachbody business grew. So she came home. We worked together as a team to build and manage the team. And then 3 years ago, we shifted when I retired. And now I would say more of my time for sure is spent in the speaking area. I still have the team. My wife still leads and manages that. But my heart right now, day in and day out, is building and sharing what I feel is my gift to give to others to inspire and empower. So that's where we're at.
I want to circle back to the fear that you might have had about leaving
Mm,
your job. This was your policing job.
right.
And you've got the golden retirement kind of
Right.
dangling. This is how they keep you there. And I'm not suggesting that people who want to start a speaking business quit their job cold, because you had something else to fall back
Mm.
on. Maybe there wasn't as much fear. Or tell me a little bit about how frightening it was to go
To
from
leave.
3 to 2.
Jane, I can say it was very frightening because everybody in my circle was against it, except my wife, and maybe like my mom was like, okay, because even since I was like 12 years old, and part of the stories I share, I'm very like, when I set a goal on something, like I'm relentless. My main theme is no excuses, right? On my keynote. And it's really about, I will just be relentless until I reach the goal. And that's what I went with. I said, the only person that needs to believe in myself is the one that you see in the mirror every single day. And that was me. And nobody else was supporting me. And I said, you know what? It was the same thing what happened with Beachbody, Jane, is that when I decided to do a network marketing business that people will label it's a pyramid scheme, and being a guy doing it when it's a dominated female industry, but I had the vision and I said, I'm going to go after it. And I built the business. And I felt I was in the same thing again when I was getting ready to leave. And David, you're so young. But again, I think it's been through all the personal development I did and reading hundreds of books about my mindset and leadership that I wanted to be like, it's that 2% mindset, live life by design, not the 98% that live life by default. And I said, I've been a 2%er in my state police career, moving up through the ranks. I did something with Beachbody, and now I want to be a 2%er and be a speaker. And I just said, just follow your heart, follow your gut. And I did it. And people have come back, and some people are like, I know I didn't support you, but I apologize for how hard I was on you for the things you've done, but look where you are now.
Yeah. So that is a message for anyone who has naysayers in your life, because
Oh,
guess what? There's no like career path that you take in college to become a professional speaker.
no.
There's this isn't a thing that most people, the majority of people in our lives in this industry are secretly hoping that we will someday get a real job.
Right, right.
Real job,
Exactly.
because they don't understand the industry. When it comes to no excuses, your talk,
Hmm.
mindset is a big piece of it.
Yes, huge.
What are your other two pieces?
So it's no excuses, and it's to help people break through fear and adversity to play a bigger game in business and life, which is like my promise statement, right? And then my three objectives is the one is having a vision. Like, what are your goals? What are your dreams? I think so often people kind of accept their life for what it is every day instead of leading their life to where they want to go, something that I've lived through. So one is having a vision, don't be, I like to say a ship without a sail is most people. We float out there and hope we hit our goals. And it doesn't work like that. You have to have a vision and direction. So second is mindset. That I think is everything, and we can't control what happens to us with COVID or the economy or gas prices, but I like to say you can control how you react. Like your attitude is a choice, your energy is a choice, how you show up is a choice. So I hit on mindset because I think that's a huge piece. And the last is sense of urgency, and that's not procrastinating. And that, I share the near and dear story when my best friend was shot and killed as a state trooper. And for me, I like to say life doesn't always fire a warning shot. And people so often we wait, whether it's your speaking business or anything, to things are more convenient or we're less busy. And I like to say, you may not be here tomorrow. So it's what you do with your 24 hours in each day that makes a difference. So like I drive home, living with a sense of urgency and then the mindset and having a vision.
That's beautiful. And so many of those things, I mean, I had to give myself a little talking to last
Yeah.
week. And I'm sure you've had to do the same thing as you've been going through this process. One of the things that was really, really helpful to me, and I just want to share it with our audience, and you probably already have it. I got re-clear because I have been clear in the past, but I wasn't super clear. And this is where this idea of combination of hunger and patience, I got really clear on who my perfect client was. And these are things that probably you came to me, I could have checked off every box. So I'm just going to share this list. And if anybody's out there who meets this list, give me a call because I want to talk to you. My perfect client arrives fully cooked. They know my reputation. So when you have a client come to you for a speaking engagement, you don't want them to say, oh, I just found you Googling you. You really want them to say, somebody told me something and I'm cooked. It's likable and we get along easily, has a solid and positive mindset, can easily afford me, makes decisions quickly, doesn't allow distractions to slow them down. This is you. And this is you for sure, has a combination of hunger and patience.
Yes.
And so I've had to kind of rein in we've had to have the patience conversation.
Right.
About what? 6 months ago, maybe?
Absolutely. And I think to give people an idea, and Jane, I'd like to share it. Like in the last 2 years, I've reached out to over 4,000 people through over 4,000. And every week I'm working at it. And because my belief is so strong in my message and what I do that I know 98, 99% won't answer, but it's when I get on and then the message and then it can spin off. You just have to have that faith to keep going if you believe in it. And I think everything you just listed, absolutely in a line. Same thing.
So 4,000 people. That's where I want to start on this journey, because your process has brought you these double it and double it and double it again results. Okay. So year over year for 3 years, you have been looking at your farmer's field and you have been planting and planting and planting seeds. Absolutely. So let's talk about how you send emails. Let's talk about the follow-up process. Give us what you actually are doing. And we do get clear initially with some particular target markets. I think that's really helpful.
Right. No, we have target markets, but this is like golden information. And this is me from having some mistakes along the way. So what I do is I have my assistant who pulls information for me of events online that are my target market. Now, as a motivational speaker, anything in sales, anything in real estate, I've spoken to SHRM events, HR events, real estate, anything where people need an inspiring message. I'm not going to talk about science to a bunch of doctors, right? So I pull I get the events, and then every week I'm very diligent. And what I do is I send them an email, a personal email to them directly. And I introduce myself. I have my highlight reel with the link in there. And I send that to all the new leads I get each week. Now, the first thing I learned is that my email, when I first started this, got blocked because I had to take that email and I created multiple versions of it. So if I'm going to send 10 emails today, I'm rotating the 3 to 4 versions through the 10. So I'm sending the same email, switching things around so it doesn't look like I'm blasting a newsletter. So I personalize it. I rearrange the paragraphs. So I send that every week to all of my new leads. The following week, if anybody does not answer me, and this is important, people are so busy these days. So often they see your email, they forget to answer. I've had bookings because everybody that I email, I track and I follow up with them with a follow-up email I have also with multiple versions to everybody that I sent the emails to. Now, at that point, if they don't answer me, I move on. Bless and release, I move on. I don't stress about it. But then the 1 or 2 that answer may lead to conversation. It may lead to getting on a Zoom call to talk about speaking. And yes, in the beginning, I think you have to play the numbers game. I had to do it in Beachbody until you gain enough traction where it switches when you're attracting people in. And I feel like people sometimes ask, are you going to write another book? I said, I feel like I'm living it right now, Jane, because like I'm in that space where people are starting to come to me, but not enough where I want to take the switch. So I am very actively every week reaching out to those people. And then if people do answer, they get tracked in my CRM. And I'm constantly nurturing the relationship. Even if I get to the final and I don't get picked, which has happened in part of the process, I still will follow up with them the week before the event and wish them good luck and say, I know Jane got the keynote. Good luck to Jane. She's going to kill it. And then I'll follow up with them a couple months later. Right now, we're in the holiday season. Everybody's getting a video message from me. Happy Thanksgiving here in the United States. Have a great week. Happy holidays. And it's just that touch point. And I've gotten messages back from people and bureaus saying, David, this was great. Kept you front of mind, very personal. So relationships are everything. So it's a little bit of a numbers game and then tracking and then keeping in touch with those people. And I've been talking to some people for over 2 years. It's just patience and hard work.
Sure. Okay. I want to break some things down a little. What CRM are you using currently?
So I'm using Karma.
Karma. Okay.
Yes.
Karma for speakers.
Yes.
We used to recommend Karma quite a bit, and you were one of the early adopters of that. And we got some feedback that people weren't getting the support that they needed. So we pulled back a little bit. Yeah. But let me ask you, what's your experience been?
So I haven't had any issues because I only use it to I add somebody's name in, email, and a 1 sentence. They answered my email, they were interested, and then I just mark a follow-up in there. I don't use it to how big of a system it is. I literally just use it to track.
Follow-up. That's your
main
thing. Okay. So that's really helpful for people to know that, this is something that's important that you do. I love your background, and you just started sending videos. Let's talk about videos. How are you sending them? What's that look like?
So I'm using a service. I'm doing a free trial because I want to see the open rates because there's analytics before I spend it, but it's through BombBomb, BOMB.com. That was a recommendation. Thank you, Jane. So I've been doing it and it's quick. I'm a video person on my social media. I have no problem going on. It's something I think just from Beachbody to on me recording a 10-second message and smiling. I think it's more personal. I believe it is. So I use BombBomb. I send it. You can paste it in right into your email. And it actually has a 3-second GIF, it moves. It knows it's you. Yes. I'm putting it in. I'm tracking the analytics to see if I'm going to splurge and send the money, who's opening it, who's not opening it. So I'm in the phase, but again, I'm just trying. I'm trying to learn and every day and try something new.
Okay. And I'll give props to Jen McDonough, who runs our school. She's actually using BombBomb and loves it so very much. And that's why I thought it might be a good idea for you. Now, you just have like some sort of screen backdrop that looks like a wood cabin or looks like
Right.
a log cabin. And I love it. And I think your
Thank you.
clients love it. You've got your microphone, your backdrop,
Yes.
and you're like good to go.
Yes.
You can do all the things that you want from this little space. Where are you actually in your house?
So I'm in my office. I mean, but I can show you guys. There's the bottom.
Okay, so if you're
And
watching on YouTube,
yeah, and like
you
there's
kind of
there's
all
like
the
a retirement thing right there from my plaque, and it's just a backdrop, and I had some sunlight coming through, so I literally, this is the real deal. I literally put a blanket up over the window. You could see it, but I'm just keep,
hilarious.
and that's it. And then I have a standard ring light behind my computer, and here I am.
And if I whipped my stuff around, you would see that I have like a flip chart in front of my window to block the light. And then I just put a box that I used to, it's a flat box, but you can put it together into a pizza box to mail out
Yes.
books. And I just have a pizza box kind of at the top to try to block the sunlight. So, we use what we've got. I think the important thing is when you walk into your space that you feel kind of excited and giddy to get
Yes.
going.
Yes.
So, okay. So we're planting a ton of seeds here.
Yes.
I loved what you said about if they don't get back to you. How many times do you email them before you bless and release?
I do one follow up.
Two.
So I sent, so twice. They get 2 emails from me.
Two
and
emails from you. Has anybody ever circled back from the bless and release list?
Yes. I mean, I had somebody I followed up with, Jane, that 5 months later said, David, I'm finally getting around to answering your email, and I'd like to talk to you about an event for next year. It was July. I sent it in July. And then they followed up with me in October.
Okay, so that's just good news for people who might be
Yes.
thinking, here's one of the things that we teach here is never imagine that you know what's going on at the other person's end. The thought might be, this is where our thoughts can wreak havoc with our progress. The thought may be, oh, they're not interested. But really what's happening is they're upset because their kid has got to change schools or something. I mean, there could be something that has absolutely nothing to do with work that has them completely distracted, and they're just not interested in dealing with you in that moment. You might even be on a short list and it takes them months to actually, okay, we're finally all coming back together to make a decision. We got distracted over here doing something else. Have there ever been any engagements that just went away completely and then came back to you?
Yes. I mean, emails, I've gotten emails, some from like a year later. And, I try not, the thing is, I have learned not to attach emotion to it. And if once you get good at the numbers game and you do that, then if stuff comes back to you, then great. But otherwise, if you don't attach emotion to it, you don't get down on it. But it definitely happens. That's why you just got to stay consistent with doing the process every single day.
Yeah, love it. Talk a little bit about the speech and how much have you worked? Okay, so when you were at Beachbody, you're standing sometimes in front of what? 10,000 people, more?
Yeah, 20,000.
20,000. Okay, so you are literally thrown into the biggest potential booking
arena.
Your life, arena of your life, because literally it is an arena sometimes, or anyway, there's 20,000 people. There's a massive, massive production. Did you ever sit in the audience and say, ooh, I want to be up on that stage?
Yeah, I have. And I think it was when I started in the smaller areas and went bigger and bigger. And I said, wow, I wonder if I can speak on that stage. And just last year, I've been on that big of a stage twice. Wow. And it's pretty amazing. It's just the first time I did it, I came off and I remember having tears going, like the feeling. It was unbelievable.
There's a lot of adrenaline. And I remember, I don't speak, right? This is not the thing that I do. And so I went out in front of an audience of, even 500 people was intimidating to me. And I had to just do like deep breath work ahead of time
Right.
and really like calm myself down, even though
Right.
most people this is like, yeah, whatever, old hat. But talk about the preparation that it took, because usually at those events you only have like what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40
Yeah,
minutes.
it's short. It's
How long did
shorter.
it?
It's short. It's short. So I've done a 20-minute block and I've done a 10-minute block on the big stage. And then my normal keynote's an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. But sometimes people like David, we only have 45 minutes. That happened to me recently. And I literally just cut out one of the stories I share.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit all over the chart. But the preparation, I think it's a lot of the same. Like I like to say my keynote is 80-20. 80%'s the same, and 20% I always personalize it to the client. So
Yes.
getting on a call with them beforehand, a week or 2 weeks before, what's going on, what's the water cooler talk, what's the struggles, helps me personalize it to them for their event, what I think is super important.
Awesome. And when you're doing like 10 and 20 minutes is not easy.
No,
The TED Talk, people, is the hardest talk
right,
because of the structure that you are put into.
right.
So, how hard is it to make it meaningful in 10 minutes?
Very hard. And I think of a speaker showcase I did last summer, and it was like I had 12 minutes. So
Mm,
what I did is I took like my most powerful story, which was the loss of my best friend, and I take my opening, and I have I have a very strong open with energy. So I took my opening, had my story, and then cut my ending in half, which also ends on a powerful ending. And I got it to 12 minutes. So sometimes you just can't be robotic. You got to work with what you have in those parameters. So I said, all right, which story is going to send the biggest emotion to the energy? And that was my best friend story. And then I sandwiched it with a little bit of my opening and a little bit of my closing. And
yeah.
that's how it worked
And,
out.
and really, in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or a TED Talk, you only have time for one, like, kind of
Story.
key
That's
idea,
it.
one
Yes.
point. And it's
Yes.
that point all the way down. Like, you don't
Yes.
have time for three of anything. Usually it's threes. You have time for one thing. So I think
Yes.
also, what did you have any backstage prep? I mean, I'm
Mm.
thinking that there probably are people back there throwing up because they're about to go
Oh,
up for 20,000
yeah,
people.
no. So it is my backstage prep now is I need to be in a place by myself, whether it's down a hallway or in a room. I have headphones in, I have music because I'm all about bringing the energy and excitement. So I can't be sitting and then they say my name and I come out. Like I open up with the song and try to get people up and just get them moving around. So I definitely have prep. It's very religious, structured and religious. Music in the ear, leave me by myself. I need 30 minutes to get my place in a good space, my keynote going through to my head, and then that's it and go. So I think you always will have nerves, which is a good thing.
Mhm.
But now I've shifted to I'm like, let's go, because let's own the stage, and really it's making it about other people. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely a process, and it's definitely every time I do it, you get better. Every time you get better, you tweak and you get
Yes.
more confident. So it's always a growth journey.
Yeah. And oh, that line got a laugh. I'm going to
Yes.
emphasize that next time. And I think you're channeling any nervous energy into energy and just bringing
Yes.
it all with you. I love that. The idea of music, kind of bringing it out,
Yep.
pumped. Okay. So, um, what are some of your other kind of procedures that you do? Well, let me just ask you this. What has been the one thing that you've done that has reaped you the biggest rewards?
So I think I recently added a survey using opinionstage.com. So
Okay.
I open up, I do a real-time survey in the beginning. I kind of open up with it's called the P3 framework, which I just created, Personal Perseverance Project. And I
Okay.
say within that are three objectives, which we spoke about: vision, mindset, urgency. And
Okay.
then I kind of talk a little bit about them with the story. And my first survey is a real-time survey of what do you struggle with most, vision, mindset, or urgency? And they get
Okay.
a survey. I the QR code up. And then right away, I'm getting feedback on what they're struggling with the most. And then at the end, I ask for, I do another survey, which is their feedback on my keynote. And I also ask right there, do you know anybody that books speakers, or do you book speakers? And then in return for me doing that, I give them a free PDF workbook that goes along with my book that I published, The Leveled Up Life. So I give them something for free. They fill the survey. And now what happens is, this is like the gold. In my 2 surveys, I have my first one, which is feedback to my client to hopefully get spin-off coaching or consulting. This is all new for me, because now I could say, this is what they're struggling with. And then with the feedback survey, I also share their answers with my client. And now I have potential leads to follow up with, because a lot of them now either book speakers or know somebody and refer me. So that was something.
Love it. Woohoo! Asking for the business, people. So asking for the business is the first rule of business. We know that. And now you're doing it in the form of a survey. And the QR code thing, I think it's here to stay. I think it's very effective. That's a great way to get name, email address, and a couple of answers. And by the way, you need to sell the bonus in order to get them. So the piece of the book that you talked about, you need to sell that piece in order to get them to, so that your percentages continue to go up and up and up. Okay.
Yes.
One thing. I think that, so we have a little chapter inside the Wealthy Speaker 3.0. So if you already have the book, I don't know exactly where it is in the book, but it's called the Help Me Speech. And it's right before you close. So let's say you don't have any QR codes, you're like completely non-technical in your talk. Right before the closing story, you would say, as you can see, I am incredibly passionate about no excuses living. If you know of anyone who could benefit from this, please come and hand me your business card afterwards. So that's David saying, can you please help me? That's why we call it Help Me Speech. And it was created by the way, an amazing NSA founder, I want to say, or had been around for a long time. His name is Tom Winiger. And then we just tweaked it to be called the Help Me Speech. Asking for the business. I mean, I cannot state enough how important this is, because now you're getting a whole new addition to your funnel. Right. And it's a beautiful thing. So I want to thank you for coming on and just sharing all of your good tools. I mean, you've drilled it right down for us. Opinionstage.com. Like, this is so good. Is there anything that you would, if we were circling back to year one, what advice would you give year one in speaking, David?
It's going to be patience, right? That you give me. I think it's that if you believe in your message and what you have, that's the most important thing. Because if you love what you do and believe in it, you will push through the hard work. It's going to be hard work. You're going to get no's. And for me, it was just having the patience, having the belief, and being consistent to do it every single day. And it's that dark work, doing it when nobody's watching and sending the emails. Like before we came on with you, Jane, it was 2 hours of just emails and putting it in. I'm not speaking. I'm not in front of 20,000 people, but it's these important things, that you need to do to be able to get to where you want to go. And I just think you just got to be consistent and do it every day.
Love it. Love it. Well, if people want to get in touch with you, how should they connect with you? You have a big following on Instagram.
Right. So I'm on Instagram, David_W_Atkins. Also, my website is davidatkinsspeaks.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. If you find YouTube. So I think on Instagram, people find me the easiest, but you can find me online quite easily.
Okay, beautiful. And for me, I'm going to say first rule of business is asking for the business. David is a perfect client for me because he doesn't allow distractions to slow him down. And he has a combination of hunger and patience. And if that sounds like you and you want to double and then double again and then double again your business, I would like to talk to you. Let's schedule a 15-minute call. Email me, jane@speakerlauncher.com, and we'll get it going. We also have a really good, strong group of people who are working towards their first 100K inside the Wealthy Speaker School. So if price point, maybe I'm not the perfect fit for you, maybe you might be able to take a look at wealthyspeakerschool.com. That is it for us today,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Oh, David, thank you for coming
Thank
and sharing all the goods. I appreciate you so much. And with that, we'll say, see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help building the speaking business of your dreams, head over to wealthyspeakerschool.com and take advantage of our 20-minute next step call. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast.